how worried do I get about getting the credit for things? How willing am I just to do the right thing over and over again? I saw somebody on I Love Kid Men a week or two back talked about, they didn't talk about this, but at the essence of the problem was they didn't feel like they were getting the credit for something that they should be getting the credit for. And I think this is probably something we each can wrestle with to a degree, this desire to get the credit for things, But I was reminded Sunday in kids' church, we started a new series on Esther, which I love the story of Esther, and it's been a while since I read it and have taught it. And in this series, we're looking at a different Bible character every Sunday. And this past Sunday was Mordecai. Now, do you remember who Mordecai was in the story? Bible trivia. Esther's uncle. Esther's cousin. Yeah. So Esther loses her parents at a young age. She's adopted by her cousin Mordecai. We know what happens to Esther. The king at the time, another Bible trivia, king's name starts with an X. Xerxes, yeah. King Xerxes decides he needs a new queen and has a beauty pageant, basically, to pick the new queen. Esther, who is a Jew, gets chosen to be the queen. She hides the fact that she's a Jew. You know the story. She becomes the new queen. Her cousin Mordecai, who's adopted her, has worked in the palace as a guard. One day, overhears two other guards plotting to kill the king. He goes and he tells Esther, you've got to tell the king that these two guards are plotting to kill him. And he saved the king's life. Now, here's the thing. You would think that Mordecai would get some credit. You would think that he would get a thank you, a pat on the back, a promotion, a bonus, some kind of recognition, but he doesn't get anything. It's written down in the king's journal or diary that this guard named Mordecai saved his life. But it's not until years later, where if you remember the story, King Xerxes is having a hard time sleeping, which I know some of you, Beth can relate to this. She's up half the night on her phone. Monica can relate to this because we've talked to Monica about this. And he's up in the middle of the night, and this is before he could get on this and check Instagram. So he calls one of his assistants in and says, just read me something, go back into my journal and read to me some stuff that's happened in the past. Maybe it'll put me back to sleep. So he gets reading and gets to the part of the story where the guard Mordecai saved your life because he let you know about these two guards that were planning an assassination attempt. And he says, have we done anything to honor Mordecai? And realizes he totally did not at all honor Mordecai. And he ends up putting Mordecai on his horse, parading him through the city. His right-hand man, Haman, who we know at the end of the story is going to be hung, ends up leading the parade, saying that this is what happens when the king chooses to honor somebody. So, takeaway point for us, what I want to encourage you all with today, and what I've been wrestling through the last few days and thinking through, is how worried do I get about getting the credit for things? How willing am I just to do the right thing over and over again, to do the right thing in relationships, to do the right thing in ministry, to do the right thing at work, even if I never get a thanks, even if nobody ever notices, I'm just going to do the right thing. And for Mordecai, I think the right thing really for him was, in essence, he cared for people. He cared for Esther. He adopts Esther and gives her a bedroom, gives her a place at the table, takes care of her, treats her as if she's his own. He cares for the king and really takes a risk by alerting the king to these plans that he has heard. So he cares, and he doesn't get any credit or any honor for years and years later. So the good news is that God does honor those who do the right thing. And that's what I really want to encourage each of us with today. That's kind of the big takeaway is God is faithful. You can do the right thing in a relationship over and over and over again, even when somebody is not reciprocating that. You can choose to do the right thing at work. You can choose to do the right thing in a million different areas of life. And it may appear as though nobody is noticing it, but there is one person that notices it. It's the Lord, and he honors that. Now, in Mordecai's case, he was honored years later in a very visible way, but sometimes I don't even know if God chooses to honor us that way. But we know one day when we get to heaven, he will honor us for that. He chooses not to honor us publicly, or you never get your public thanks here on